Humidity is killing me, folks. I look like I stuck my tongue in an electric socket. Floofy. I'm a very floofy Lynx today. It is warm in here. Today I want to talk to you about this thing right here. You know what it is? Not and. It's an ampersand. Ampersand. It does mean and, yes, but it also means more. It means two things held in one breath. A promise, a partnership, a lyric that doesn't end on the downbeat. Could be any of those. We use it in business names, in author duos, in titles that you want things to feel closer. We say War and Peace because the ampersand doesn't just connect, it binds. And in writing, in storytelling, in our own tangled lives, the ampersand is the typographic symbol of togetherness. Today, we're diving deep into this elegant, curly mark, where it came from, how it evolved, and what it means in the stories we tell and the lives we revise. I'm MT Lynx, and if you enjoy diving deep into the history behind punctuation, obscure words, and things we use every day but don't know the history behind or why we use them, do me a favour, do the algorithm-y things. Hit subscribe, it costs you nothing. The like, please, it lets the algorithm and YouTube know that what I'm doing has value. And the bell, if you want to be notified when I drop new videos, which is just about every day. Alright, back to the video. Let's write an and where the world wanted an or. The ligature that lingered. The ampersand is older than you think. It started in ancient Rome as a ligature, a handwritten combo of letters E and T spelling the Latin word et, or e, meaning and. Over time, scribes started writing the two letters so fast they fused them, looping together into something new. That flowing shape, the et ligature, became a standalone character. Ampersand. So the ampersand was born not by a rule, but by speed, by urgency, by the need to connect things faster than our hands could separate them. That origin matters because it tells us that it isn't a cold piece of punctuation. This is handwriting, it's relationship, it's intention made permanent. It didn't come from grammar books. It came from people who needed to say two things in the same breath. Symbols of intimacy. Now, what's more romantic than an ampersand? It's not a comma. It's not an and that pauses and then proceeds. It's curved. It's looping. It touches upon itself. And it refuses to be interrupted. This mark says, we're in this together. And that's why we use it in love stories, family company names, co-author bylines, creative duos and songwriting credits. It doesn't just say and. It says these are two things that are connected in a way that may not be pulled apart. You want proof? Think of the difference between salt and vinegar versus salt and vinegar. One feels like a grocery list, the other feels like a relationship. The ampersand is the poetry of partnership, function and form. Something technical here. Let's talk usage. Technically, ampersand is a stand-in for and, but they're not always interchangeable. For formal writing, use and. For creative writing, branding, or stylization, ampersand it up. Here are some correct formal uses. Smith and Wesson, Pride and Prejudice, Fire and I. And then here are some intentional and stylized uses. Simon and Schuster, AT&T, R&B, Dungeons and Dragons. There's a fancy ampersand for that one. Use the ampersand when you want rhythm, impact, compression, and a visual tie. And use and when you need clarity, formal tone, or flow. Here's a pro tip. Use ampersands in chapter titles, blog post headers, merch, UI buttons, or poetry. Anywhere that design and rhythm matter. The Worldbuilding Glyph. Let's talk fiction. In fantasy or sci-fi, the ampersand can become a symbolic glyph in your world. It can represent dual magic systems, for example, sun and moon, mind and body, serve as an interdimensional key, be a holy symbol of divine unions, or act as a visual rune for convergence. Imagine a prophecy sealed with an ampersand, a spoken spell that ends with it and glows into the shape of an ampersand, an alien language where ampersand is the verb to join. Or let's flip it dark now. A dystopia where the government bans ampersands, severing all sanctioned unions. A horror story where the couples are marked with the ampersand and vanish together. The symbol itself is narrative ready because ampersand is not just a connector, it's the sigil of bond. I bet you didn't know it was a sigil, did you? It is. Metaphors. Let's think about what and means. It means you don't have to choose, that both things get to exist. You can be happy and grieving, strong and afraid, brilliant and still learning, magical and messy. The ampersand is the punctuation mark of complexity, of non-binary truth, of holding paradox and pressing forward anyway. And that's why we love stories begin with, he was a hero and a traitor. She was royalty and a runaway. They were alive and already lost. The ampersand gives us space to be human, or as close as we can to. It's a storytelling version of, hey, me too. It says we go together. Fonts and design. Typography and ampersands. No punctuation mark has more typographic personality than the ampersand. It's elegant in Guermantes, whimsical in Baskerville italic, whimsy, futuristic in Futura, and gothic in black letter. Here's a tip. The best ampersands often live in Georgia, Ibi Guermantes, Kinzel Decorative, Railway, Quattrocento, Bodoni, Playfair Display. Each font draws a different ampersand. Now that's rare. So, for design work, consider using the ampersand as a logo element. Try it as a chapter break glyph. Use a unique ampersand font to distinguish sections. Let it become your story's visual fingerprint. There's something deliciously dramatic about designing with punctuation marks, especially this one. Ampersands in story structure. Alright, let's talk structure for a second. What if your whole book was built around an and? Dual point of view? Use an ampersand title, Ash and Ember. Intertwining timelines? Use ampersand to separate your chapters. Characters whose arcs only work together? Reflect it in your titles. You could even write a romance novel with dual perspectives joined by an ampersand. A tragedy where one half of the ampersand disappears. A fantasy saga called Blood and Bone, and only in the final chapter do you understand the connection. The ampersand becomes a narrative mechanic. It shows the reader these things must go together, or else something's broken. Ampersand identities. Alright, ampersand isn't just about grammar, it's about you too. It says you're not either or. You're not too much, and you're not one thing at a time. You are a warrior and a dreamer, an introvert and a performer, a writer and a reader and a runaway and a returner. And that's what makes the ampersand so powerful. It doesn't choose, it welcomes. All are welcome under the ampersand. When you write with it, when you build worlds with it, you're saying there is more than one truth going on here. And that is where fiction lives. The ampersand still matters. In a world of polarization and binary decisions, it means resistance. It says we don't have to cut things apart. We can hold tension, and we can tell complicated stories. We can love and leave. We can fight and forgive. We can speak and listen. And most of all, we can write stories that do all of it. The ampersand invites you to put two things in one line and believe that they can stay there together. Right, this little curl, this elegant twist of pen and power, it means we don't end things, we extend them. Write it between your heroes, Write it in your book titles. Write it into yourself. I'm MT Lynx, and this was the Ampersand. Next week, we're going darker into the world of the bullet points. Not the metal kind, the typographic kind. Until then, write boldly, love fully, and never forget the power of and. And now you know. I'll see you in the next video. This one right here. See you there.